Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Make sure to like, subscribe and do your thing to help this channel out. Sub goal is 50 subs, and we're going to just get right into it. The Scottish Premiership predictions. Sorry it is late, because I'm going to do the Scottish Premiership predictions a new way compared to any other YouTuber. Let's just get right into it. 12th place, I know my team's there the now, because Hibs have got 0 points at the moment, but in 12th place I'm going to have to put Dundee. I just think, actually, well, I was going to say Dundee, but at the same time, there's a reason I put Dundee there, because they're a yo-yo team, apart based on yesterday's result in the Tayside derby, beating drawing 2-2 at McDermott Park yesterday. 11th, I'm going to go with St Johnstone. I just have that gut feeling, but 11th and 12th can change. It might be St Johnstone in 12th, but at the same time, St Johnstone, but things could change. 10th place, I'm going to have to go with Livingston, because yes, they've had a rocky road start to the season so far, but they've done well. Obviously beating Hibs at Easter Road 3-2. But based on that, I think I'm going to have to put them 10th, because they never make top 6 ever. Prove me wrong if they do. Livingston in 10th place, I just don't think. I think they'll bottle it halfway through the season as always. No hard feelings to Livingston fans, but that's what happens usually. 9th place, I'm going to have to go with Ross County. I just feel that usually when Ross County start off a season really well, they peak too early, and then therefore at near the middle of the season they collapse as a squad, and then they start losing games that are more easier to win. You look at that and you're like, well, where do we go? So I think Ross County will finish 9th. Moving on, 8th place. Good question. Who am I going to put 8th? I want to say Motherwell. I want to say Motherwell to go in 8th in the league. I know that's a bit of a low for that, but they did make top 6 last season, but this season you only get a one-off if it's Motherwell. I'm going to put Motherwell 8th. I think they're going to struggle a bit this season after losing Kevin Van Veen. I mean, they did manage to win at home to Hibernian FC. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about results as well in this game, it's because I'm doing the Scottish Premiership predictions 3 games in, because I'm going to do it that way, and then I can kind of get a rough idea of how people will finish this season. Motherwell have made some good signings, making a loan signing of the Arsenal player, who was a really good signing for them so far. The loan signing of Barnsley skipper and ex-Hibby Ollie Shaw. So there's a lot of good hidden talent players in there. And Motherwell, you've got to admit, they've made 12 new signings. Anything can happen this season, so I still think they'll finish 8th, but they might rise above the timber if they do. We have 7th place. This is going to be a tough one. I'm going to have to put Hearts. I just have that killer instinct that it's going to be Hearts that will finish 7th, because we always get slated for when we drop and finish in 7th. So I think Hearts are going to struggle this season, especially with the 2 managers. Every now and then the players with too many tactics getting changed, but I know that it's going to be crazy, but Hearts are going to be in for a struggle this season, crashing out of Europe, getting beat off a pub team in Europe, and I just think based on that they're going to be in for a rocky season. and they're going to struggle, especially against the Old Firm, because nobody can compete with the Old Firm in the season so far in the past. So, yeah, Hearts to finish 7th, 6. Number 6, I'm going to have to go with Kilmarnock. They've had a good season so far, beating Rangers on the opener, 1 league defeat so far, and I'd say Derek McInnes has done a good job with Kilmarnock, building them up and just making them look a really good squad, a really fighting squad and that. And you've got to admit they have brought in a lot of new players, because nearly half their squad were out of contract, so on the summary at the end of last season. So they've rebuilt, they've regrouped, they even punted Celtic, the holders of the Viaplay Cup. They beat them at Rugby Park, which was a shock to Scottish football as well. But fair play to them, they're a good squad. They look like they're going to be in for a really good season, and that's why I put them number 6 in the league. And if they really do have that good a season, I can see them going higher. 5, I am going to put St Mirren. That was quite a weird one for me to put St Mirren number 5, but the way I see it, they've started off the season really well, still unbeaten in the league. They were top of the league, but because of the Old Firm game in play at the moment, Celtic are there now, but I don't, there's ways about it. I just think St Mirren might struggle against Old Firm now and then and start to lose against some of the easier teams in the league as the league progresses. And it's going to be quite a weird season for St Mirren, but there will be teams that will start to be ready for St Mirren and go for them. Up next, we have number 4 in the league, and I'm going to have to go with Aberdeen. Now, Aberdeen haven't really started the season off well. They haven't really had any wins this season so far. And even although making 13 new signings this season, they've still not, even before that, when the season kicked off and that, they've not really progressed in the league very well, and they sit just above Hibs in 11th now with the way the league stands now until today's game. As Aberdeen did crash out of the Europa League playoffs after getting beat 5-3 on aggregate. But Aberdeen were a good team, but the defence needs a quick look at a wee bit. There was times where they were giving the ball away easily in that Europa League playoffs match at Pittodrie, but I wouldn't say it was a really, really bad result. Number 3, and I have put Hibernian now. Hold on, Hibs fans, hold the fort, hold the fort. Hold up. Now, wait a second, I can explain. We are 12th in the league now, but hopefully, I'm not saying it'll be an easy game today, but I think we can get a massive 3 points today if we set up correctly. Okay? Now, Hibernian have had a terrible start to the season due to ex-manager Lee Johnston, who was a clueless clown, made our club a laughing stock, this and that. And people were calling for his head for ages and ages and ages, since January last year. And he only got sacked on Wednesday night after the 5-0 gubbing to Aston Villa. Now, don't get me wrong, we've not appointed a new manager yet, but I heard it's meant to be Montgomery or something like that, that it's meant to be. People are saying Steve Robinson. But then you're going to have to pay a huge compensation for Steve Robinson, don't get me wrong, after the season he's had. I think Hibs will finish in 3rd, just out of a way fighting up the league somehow. We've got the players. We signed Dylan Venti for 7k. We signed Harbottle for Nottingham Forest. We signed Dylan Levitt, Jojo, Boric. Joe Bitter. There's quite a lot of good players in there, and you can see what I mean. You've still got players in defence like Rocky, and then we also signed Will Fish on loan for Man United, who's still to prove himself, I think. You've still got a really good player like Lewis Miller, Martin Boyle, Ellie Johan, Joe Newell, who should be captain. But if we want this season to survive for Hibs, Hanlon and Stevenson and David Marshall, I don't want them to be a part of your season anymore. Trash can for me now. It is time to move on. You've got young players that are choking to get into that squad, like Megwa, Del Ferrier, and there's a lot of good players there. This chucking all the young guns or young players out on loan, Laidlaw, that was a big mistake. I'm sorry, that was Lee Johnston that was behind that, for what I heard, but it's a joke. We need to keep our young players because they're replacements for Paul Hanlon and Lewis Stevenson, goalkeeper that we were called on loan, Johnston. But I don't know why we played David Marshall in that Aston Villa playoff second leg, because he went into that game after getting an injury on his hip where the Livingston player kneed him just in the stomach. I think he rushed back, I'm not going to lie. So we move on to the top two in the Scottish Premiership, and we can see how this is going to go. Now this will be quick because it'll be short, because I don't really like to talk about the top two teams in the league for that long. No hard feelings to any of the fans, but that's just, I want to get this top two over and done with so that I can get this video out earlier than usual. Second place is going to be Rangers based on today's Old Firm, but I wouldn't say that things can change. Rangers still have a fight in them. Rangers still have a way to take down Celtic. That's all I'm going to say. So I wouldn't, if I was a Celtic fan, I wouldn't be getting my hopes up if saying, oh, we've bet Rangers, the league's ours already. I wouldn't really run into that. You still got for Celtic and Rangers anyway, 34 games to see who wins the title, who gets crowned champions, because it is a crazy way about it. So you can't rush into it saying, oh, Celtic are going to win the league again, yay. No, they're not, because you've got 34 games still to go, and any of the Old Firm teams could get crowned champions. It might not even be the Old Firm, it might be somebody else, I don't know, because that's not happened in a long time. The last time that happened, when a team outside the Old Firm won the league, was Aberdeen, and that was basically when Sir Alex Ferguson was Aberdeen manager. So would we ever see something like that happen again? No chance. I don't know, but I'd say Rangers have got what it takes to get up the league. They've still got Europa League group stage football as well, so that'll probably pile on the pressure. But Celtic have the Champions League group stages, so that's a higher division. Talking about Rangers, they've still got that quality. They are very clinical as a squad, and I think they've got what it takes to try and fight their rivals no matter what. Something that Hibs and Hearts should be doing as well, but I can see it happening. No matter what happens in the league, the Old Firm, it's hard to compete against them for the rest of the teams in the league. It'd be lucky if Celtic really go first way the way they started off this season, but they've brought in good players. You've got players that they've signed like Liam Scales and all that, so, and a few new players as well. So, but Joe Hart in goals for Celtic, he needs to watch what he's doing, in my opinion, because there is times where he's a bit of a bomb scary a goalkeeper, but it needs to work for Celtic this season. If Brendan Rodgers gets it wrong, Celtic fans are going to get frustrated in this thing where the Old Firm are not letting away fans in to away games when Celtic are playing away and Rangers are playing away. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if it's to do with trouble or behaviour issues. I can't remember. I didn't really look into that. Brendan Rodgers might screw up and then Celtic might end up further down the league, like what happened to him at Leicester. He started off the season well, and then out of nowhere they were jam-packed right down the bottom of the league, and they just kept falling and falling and falling. I'm not saying that will happen with Celtic, but if it does, with Champions League and Champions League hangover and all that, anything can happen in the space of 34 games in the league. So all I'm saying is never get your hopes up when you don't know what to expect next. Guys, that is it for today's video. Make sure you like, subscribe and enable notifications, and you have been watching me, Jack C99, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.